Welcome to Pre-Algebra. This is Chapter 1, Section 1, Place Value, Rounding, and Arithmetic. We're going to look at some practice problems. This is all review. This is stuff you should have done before. We're just going to brush up on it, make sure that we're all on the same page, ready to go. So you're looking at page 5 in your book. Number 1 wants us to identify the place and the value of the underlined digit. So the way I always like to do it is I find my decimal, which is right here, and my number immediately to the left of it is my ones place. Then either direction I go, it does the same thing. If I go to the left, it goes ones, tens, hundreds. If I go to the right, it goes, I start at my ones, then I go to the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So the 4 is going to be in the A, it's in the thousandths location, and B, its value is 4 thousandths. All right. So on this one, the decimal place is right here. The underlined is immediately to the left, so that's my ones place. That's the most common, so that's ones, which we also refer to that as units. And the value of that one is 2. Okay, on 3, here's my decimal. I'm going to go 1, there's my ones, tens, hundreds. I'll get this thing to work. Hundreds. And its value is 300. Okay, number 4. Decimal place is right here. Here's my ones. So ones, tenths. And its value is 5 tenths. All right. So number 7, it's given us a chart here. It wants us to complete the rounding chart. The first two, the thousands and hundreds spots, have been done for us. We're rounding to the tenths and to the hundredths. All right, so on the first one, to go to the tenths, my tenth spot is right here, right? That's my ones and then tenths. This is the one I'm looking for right there. So I'm going to round it 12,784 point, and I'm going to go immediately to the right. It's a 5, so that rounds up to a 3. So it's going to become a 3. The next wants us to take it to the hundredths. So I'm going to have 12. This is my hundredths right here. Let me just change the color here. Okay, so here's my hundreds. I have 12,784.2. Now I got to decide, does that stay a 5 or does it go up to a 6? I'm going to look at the one beside it, which is a 4. It's below 5, so it's going to stay a 5. All right. Number 8. wants us to do it to the tenths first. This one is our tenths right here. So it's going to be 40. Wow. 45,964 point. It's not going to go up, so it's going to stay the same because that 4. My second one, we'll do red this time, maybe a little easier to see. It wants the hundredths right here. We have 45,964.3, and it's a 1 beside it, so it's going to stay a 4. All right, number 9 wants us to do the tenths first, right there. So I'm going to have 7. Pen doesn't want to work. 732, 819 point. Oop. I got ahead of myself. This one will trick you because the that one was right. No, it wasn't either. Okay, so because of the 9s, immediately to the right, that would have gone up to a 10, which pushes this one up to a 10. Which pushes this one up to a 2. So I need to watch all these 9s right there. Okay, that's going to keep pushing me over a little bit. So I'm going to get 2, 0.0. And on the second one, it's wanting the hundredth, which is this spot right here, but it's going to do exactly the same thing. These 9s are all going to push it over. I can't get this pen to write. So I'm going to have 732,820.0 again. All right. So now we're going to move on. We've got some basic arithmetic here. Alright, so we want to do this as neatly and organized as we can when we're adding up these bigger numbers. So we've got 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 8 is 16. I'm going to have to carry my 1. This is stuff y'all have done for a long time. This should come to you really quick. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 3 plus 6 is 9. So you should have 986 on that one. The next one, you have decimals we're working with, 1.237 plus 5.2 plus 12. I would make that vertical, so I would start off going 1.237. I'm going to line my decimals up, 5.2. I'm just going to put placeholders here. And then 12.000. So I've lined all my decimals up. 7 plus 0 plus 0 is going to be a 7. Oh, this thing is really not one to write. Uh, 3 plus 0 plus 0 is going to be a 3. 2 plus 2 is a 4. Bring my decimal. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And then bring my 1 down. So we should have 18.437 on that one. Then we've got, I skipped 13, pretty basic, same thing we just did. 14, I've got a subtraction, 6,824 minus 927. I got to remember my 4 is not big enough to subtract 7 from. So for that one, I'm going to have to borrow from the 2. So this 2 is going to become a 1. It's going to be a 14. Get a 3. My 1 is not big enough to subtract 2 from, so he's going to have to borrow. He's going to become an 11. This guy's going to become a 7 and get 9. 7 is not big enough to subtract 9 from, so he's going to have to borrow. This guy's going to become a 5. This guy's going to become a 17. 17 minus 9 is 8. And then your 5 comes down. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5,893. All right. So do your homework. Homework 1.1 should be very similar to what we just did.